所晒干esta casa.
Ghana, where last time we just started off the third chapter, and once again we have skipped quite ahead in time.
Yeah, we're in the 1800s?
Yes,
Like 1870 or something?
yes, around that time. Let's go. As I'm sure you're aware, our parents arranged our marriage. Before I emigrated to this country to be married, I lived in a misty island nation. Portraits of my ancestors hung in the house where I lived. I remember as a child wincing in fear at the sight of them staring down at me. My mother and father were constantly telling me to show them respect, as it was their hard work that kept our bloodline alive and well. However, they were fighting an uphill battle to do the same. It would have been clear to anyone reasonably perceptive that our house was coming tumbling down. Valuable furniture and paintings slowly disappeared, and eventually the portraits were gone too. As our house collapsed, so did my parents' health deteriorate, robbing us of any source of income. And though I was educated, I lacked the skills necessary to obtain work. Just as we were about to run out of money and options, my parents received Jacobo's parents' marriage proposition. Both of our families stood to benefit from the arrangement. I had social status and he had wealth. We each had what the other lacked. One needs more than money to make it in the world. Without at least a semi-reputable name attached to you, you're liable to get laughed out of most social gatherings. I first met Jacobo here in this country. We didn't even know what the other looked like until our wedding day. To be quite honest, I was scared to death at first. I was nervous. What kind of man would he be? Was I to wed some middle-aged stranger? We were not marrying because we had fallen in love like a normal couple. I knew I was in no position to be concerned with such things. But when I thought about our future, I shook with fear. But the man I saw through my veil at the wedding was remarkable. He was young, had strong masculine eyes, and at the same time, he too appeared nervous. He was shaking as much, no, even more than me. Seeing that, the priest gave an impish little smirk when he asked Jacobo if he vowed his eternal love to me. I counted myself among the happy, and I still do. For in that moment, I experienced true love. You wanted to hear about when he was kind to me. Well, after the wedding, we were given a week to ourselves. I suppose you could call it a honeymoon, though we didn't take a trip overseas, or even go very far at all. He looked at me with uncertainty and asked,
Where would you like to go?
I beg your pardon?
That's what this week is for, right? I'll consider granting a request, so tell me where you want to go.
Uh, um, I, uh, this is all so sudden.
Nothing? Well, this whole engagement was spur of the moment. Normally, we would have planned a trip in advance. But unfortunately, our purpose is served so long as we act the part. You must be disappointed that you have to plan your honeymoon as it's happening.
No,
What? Speak clearly. I don't like it when people don't speak their mind.
I'm sorry. But I'm happy. Even if it is a political marriage.
Well, you're quite the positive thinker. Your parents say something to make you think that way?
I,
Well, either way, if you're so glad to be in this arrangement, then hurry up and decide on a destination. Though there is a limit to how far we can go. If you want to take a trip, I'll consider it. What? Is something funny?
it just seems comical to me that our honeymoon has begun, and we're only now deciding where we want to go. Not in a bad way, though. I'm glad our parents didn't arrange everything for us. Perhaps you've heard, but I'm quite sensitive to sunlight and not in the best of health. So it would be rather trying for me to spend a full week out of the house. We couldn't go on a trip, but, um, if it's not too much trouble.
Speak up.
Could you show me around town? I'm new to this country and unfamiliar with its customs, and I'm rather afraid to go wandering about on my own.
Show you around.
Yes. Would that be possible?
On a rare bit of time off, you asked me to show you around town. Is that really the most exciting idea you have?
I'm sorry. If, there's somewhere you would like to go, I'm fine with that. I will accompany you anywhere.
As if I could drag around someone who just professed to being sickly all over the country. My god, I've lost all interest in a trip. Hello, what are you doing? Go get ready, now.
I beg your pardon?
Didn't you want to see the town?
You will show me around?
You're the one who asked. Not like I have any other options, so yeah, I'll show you around.
Thank you.
Don't just stand there, you dullard. Get a move on.
One moment. Wait for me, please. So kind.
Oh, yeah, such a sweetheart.
He hurriedly climbed into the carriage he had called for, a look of frustrated displeasure on his face. And then, as if he had forgotten about me until that moment, he returned, grabbed me by the arm, and led me to the carriage. In retrospect, I realized he was not being very gentlemanly.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she is. I really do want to know why she's stuck in this cycle of reincarnation, because that's not usually a good thing. But I was pleased that he was making any attempt to interact with me at all. As the carriage trotted down the streets, I saw so many new things. I'd spent most of my time cooped up inside at home, so it was like stepping into an entirely new world. And add to that the rapid industrial advancement currently taking place. I saw men shouting back and forth as they smacked newspaper articles with the back of their hands. I saw corner cafes crowded with cigar-smoking men on break from work. It was like the hustle and bustle of a festival. But every festival has its underside. I also saw overworked men, looking like they were on the verge of collapse, drinking water from a spigot on the side of the road. By way of contrast, I wore fine clothing and had a carriage at my disposal. I imagine every day was a struggle for them just to remain afloat. Had I not married the man I had, I too might have found myself in the streets in a similar fashion. But it was not relief that spread through my breast at the sight of them. It was pangs of guilt. It felt to me like a life of opulence was wrong, sinful. It broke my heart to know that I was living so much better than them. Jacobo snorted disapprovingly at me, seemingly reading my mind, and said,
The poor man who envies the rich covets his wealth and finds the ambition to make the same for himself. And the rich man who pities the poor, thinking it his duty to give, oh God, who pities the poor, thinking it his duty to give them offerings of philanthropy. To me, the latter is far more nefarious. Excessive charity will ruin a man, make him come to expect handouts. And then there are those with the wrong idea of pity, who let themselves fall down to the same place, mistakenly believe it will somehow make the poor feel better. What a joke.
hmm, hmm. I agree a little bit with the part about too much will make people dependent on you, but
Yeah. It's like,
he's going to an extreme.
right. If you're going to do anything for them, you might as well encourage them to climb upward. Spur on economic growth and the flow of capital. Doesn't that sound like the better option?
I say nothing, simply smiling and giving an ambiguous nod. He had a point. My sympathy and guilt meant nothing to people actually experiencing a hardship. If, feeling guilty of my own fortune, I acted upon that pity in the way he had described, it would accomplish little more than self-satisfaction. He seemed to have seen straight through to my very core. This was a man who had built his own fortune through investment, which I imagine required him to be rather astute. But doesn't a world where everyone is constantly trying to climb higher and higher sound rather exhausting? I, personally, would prefer to be in a position where I could watch, if only from a distance, as others climbed. But obviously, I could not say as much to him. Who knows, he might prefer that.
Yeah.
As he said, he likes when people speak their mind. Some time later, the carriage came to a stop in front of a shop. As I looked at the building perplexedly, he gestured to the door with his chin, signaling for me to get out. Lost and confused, I stepped down from the carriage, and before me spread a showcase behind a large glass window. However, lined up in the case was not precious metals or expensive clothing, but machines. At first I had no idea what kind of devices they were.
Have you never had your photo taken before?
No, I had a portrait painted, though. Are these machines for taking photographs?
A portrait, huh? Why am I not surprised?
I did not mean to boast.
Go on, get in.
Please, wait for me. The owner came out to greet us with a wide smile as we entered the shop.
Well, this ain't the strangest thing I've seen all day. You bringing a lady and a real looker at that. Where on earth you catch this pretty little thing? She's my wife. Huh. Well, I beg your pardon. I'll be a monkey's uncle. Just goes to show you never know where the cards may fall. Blink twice if you need help.
I don't know how to blink. I can only close my eyes.
You make it sound like my getting married is some kind of miracle. I always saw you as one to choose money over love, sir. Oh, pardon me, this isn't appropriate to say in front of your wife.
I like how you had a little lilt there and wife. Do you often come to this shop?
On occasion, I need some things here from time to time.
I see.
There you go, smirking again. What's so funny?
We're going to have our photo taken, yes? I'm so nervous and excited. I've never had one before. And to have it taken side by side with you.
What are you talking about?
Pardon?
Who said we were getting our pictures taken? And side by side, please. You're sending shivers down my spine. No, not the good kind.
But this is a photography shop.
Hey, shopkeep. The product I contacted you about, is it ready? Oh, yup, sit tight, I'll be right out.
He's waiting for the blinks.
You take a seat. There's a chair over there.
What?
I'm going to show you something much more exciting than sitting still and waiting in front of a camera lens.
Oh?
Just do as I say.
Okay. I sat down in front of a large mirror, which I presume was normally used to check your appearance before having your picture taken. Sitting before a mirror with someone else present was quite nerve-wracking. Out of embarrassment, I dropped my gaze to my knees. But when Jacobo returned, I was entranced by the curious object in his hands. Oh. What is that?
It looks like one of those things where I don't know what they're called, but you put them in those little toy like binoculars and then it looks like an animation.
Oh!
That's what that looks like.
What is this?
Do you know what persistence of vision is? The human eye does not perceive the world 100% accurately. This is especially true for objects in motion. It remembers images for a short time, so if you put a new image in the same place, your eye perceives it as in motion.
Oh, looks like you were right.
Oh!
Um,
Seeing for yourself would be faster than explaining it. You see the slits in the disc, look through the bottom one and into the mirror.
Okay.
Good, just like that. Bring your head close. Here goes.
Standing behind me, he slid his finger across the top of the peculiar toy, causing it to spin gracefully. And then... Ha!
So, what do you see?
They're dancing! A man and woman are dancing!
Sounds like you're not having any trouble seeing it. Are they dancing well?
Yes, they are. It's the most adorable thing.
Adorable? That's funny. I asked to have it modeled after a ballroom dance.
Yes, it's a very elegant dance. But, you see, they're small, like little dwarves, which I thought was kind of cute. And they seem so close, going around and around without ever letting go of each other's hands. This is incredible. Why does it look like they're dancing? They were all lined up in a row a few moments ago.
Goodness, I just explained that to you. It's playing a trick on your eyes. What you're seeing is lots of different pictures in a short period of time. To put it in words you might understand better, it's an illusion. Your eyes are being fooled into thinking the image is moving.
An illusion. But they're dancing. They really are. And they look like they're having a wonderful time. Are you sure it's an illusion and nothing, something else? To me, it does not seem to be. I cannot see it as anything but two tiny people dancing.
That's how it works. Reach out your hand and try to grab them. You won't be able to.
You're right. That's a shame.
I didn't think you actually would.
But it's the most precious thing. They look as though they're dancing atop my palm. I was mesmerized by the strange phenomenon. Pictures were moving after all. Still, images had begun dancing before me. It was almost as if God had breathed life into them. He had called it an illusion, but I could not grasp that. It was such an adorable, heartwarming sight. I imagined the two were off living in some other world, separate from our own. They looked so happy. I was almost certain that they were off dancing in their joyous world, free from all the sorrow and loneliness and pain of this one. Eventually, the speed at which they began to dance slowed, as if they were resting their legs. I almost thought I could hear the sound of their feet with each step. Ah, they've stopped.
They can dance forever. They don't get tired.
I see. I'm amazed such an incredible device exists in this world. It makes me wish I had gone out sooner.
I'm sure someone from as distinguished a house as yours has seen plenty of amazing things with your family.
Hardly. I rarely ever left the house. I'm ignorant about the ways of the world. If you had not told me, I would have probably never known about moving pictures, the illusion of moving pictures.
Do you like it?
Yes, of course.
More than the portrait you had painted?
Yes. Yes, I do. The painting was wonderful too, but
You can't seem to make up your mind. Go on, tell me, which do you like better? The portrait or this?
uh, um, I like this better.
I see.
He looks somewhat pleased.
Though when it comes down to it, this is a simple trick only a child would fall for.
Then I suppose that makes me a child. If it means I get to watch something as splendid as two tiny people dancing, I'll happily fall for the trick.
Quit describing it as two tiny people dancing. You're going to lose your head that far up in the clouds.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do not know how else to describe it, though.
It's a toy called a what? Phenakistoscope.
Phenakistope?
Phenakistoscope.
Phenakis wheel.
She gave up. Close enough. It was invented around 30 years ago. And they never developed more? What? I had the shopkeep make one modeled after the original design.
So the shop owner drew this.
He did. A lot better than you'd expect, isn't he?
Yes, indeed. I'm surprised he could draw something so cute. He just, bows his head sadly in the background.
Say that to his face and he'll go red as a beet. What I'd give to get a load of what I'd give to get a load of that. You should tell him the next time you see him. Just turn around and he's like there.
He's a sweet man.
Despite how he looks, you mean?
It's not right to judge people based on their appearance.
I'm just kidding. Don't take it too seriously. The shopkeep here loves new technology. That wheel is one such invention that caught his eye. You can trick the eye into thinking drawings are moving. Using a sequence of photos, you can perhaps make it seem as though real people are moving too. Oh, okay, this is a new sentence. And if it becomes possible to show those images to many people at once, these developments could broaden the option artists have to express themselves.
Not drawings, but photographs?
Yes, photos. By taking hundreds or perhaps thousands of photographs, it would be possible to reproduce the world as we see it. This room, people walking down the streets. There's no point in recording boring everyday life, though. If you're gonna leave a record of anything behind, it should be the projects and enterprises that move nations. Say, for example, a moving record of the opening ceremony of the railroad. That would be something worth watching. And then, in time, it would expand beyond the mere record-keeping technology and find its way into the hands of artists.
Is such a thing possible? You must remain still for a long time just to take a single photograph.
Right now it isn't. But eventually it will be. And I'm not simply fantasizing here.
Is that so? It sounds very futuristic. Do you
What?
want to support people who work on that sort of thing? Is that why you are friends with the owner?
It has nothing to do with my wants. I merely think there's money in it. The rich starve for entertainment, and artists create that entertainment. I have no interest in their pretentious self-expression. I just want their money. At least he's honest.
Yeah.
What? What's so funny?
You look like you're enjoying yourself.
Honestly, it's just about the money.
As you say.
Alright, let's get moving. Next is dinner.
What? We're leaving already?
Does that displease you?
No, not at all. To tell you the truth, I wanted to spend a little more time playing with the Fenneki's wheel, but I could not bring myself to say as such. Reluctantly, I approached the owner to return the wheel.
Don't bother. Bring it with you.
What? But...
If you don't want it, that's fine too. Just make your decision quickly. You're making the driver wait.
Having said that, Jacobo exited the shop. I alternated between looking at his back and the it's still hard to say, the nutcase wheel debating what I wanted to do. And then, with a smile, the owner whispered to me,
You're allowed to keep it, really. Your husband out there had made it as a gift for you.
She's infected.
Let me see.
I didn't mean for
Show it to me. Oh, Christ.
Oops, right? Give me your arm. This was 3 weeks. I was bitten an hour ago, and it's already worse. This is fucking real, Joel. You've got to get this girl to Tommy's. He used to run with this crew. He'll know where to go.
No. That was your crusade. I am not doing that.
Yes, you are. Look. There's enough here that you have to feel some sort of obligation to me, so you get her to Tommy's. They're here.
Damn it.
I can buy you some time, but you have to run.
You want us to just leave you here?
Yes.
There is no way that...
I will not turn into one of those things. Come on. Make this easy for me.
I can find...
No, just go! Just fucking go.
Ellie,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this.
get a move on.